Hey all, welcome back to my channel. Itsuchi here. I know it's been a little while since the last time I hopped online and given you guys a proper vlog. There's been some things going on with the game. All intentional. I mean, mostly intentional. The good stuff that's coming out of it is intentional. The bad stuff that's a byproduct of these changes is the unintentional part. Like, I didn't intentionally want the game to stop working, but yeah, right now the game's not really playable. I mean, it's kind of playable, but not really. Like, I got it to be able to load now without crashing, so I'm going to show you guys a little bit now of the game's current horrible state. But most importantly, I want to use this video as an opportunity to discuss the good things that are coming! Okay, so first things first, let's just jump in. I'm in the editor for this video, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, so FPS won't be like a perfect 60 because it's just screen sharing or screen recording. But anyway, so let's just start on the character roster. So as you guys look, if you look on the sides here, the character roster has been reduced, as in every single character that's not in Season 1 has been deleted, like completely gone. Not in the game in any capacity. Obviously, I backed it up and have the characters separate, so it's not like I lost all that, but they are not in the iterations of the game. That's because every single character has to get redone for this new setup. So you may also notice we are in the primary leaf section. So all the, since Part 1 will not feature any Shippuden characters, the Shippuden, the PTS roster won't really be used. Well, it'll be used to a small extent. There's only 3 characters that will be down there for the majority of Part 1, which is the Oboro characters. That's because they're from the Rain Village, and there's no dedicated roster to the Hidden Rain Village, because there's just not enough characters to justify that. So usually any Rain Ninja will be designated to the either Rogue Ninja or the Part 1, aka PTS roster. Obviously, this will make more sense once I start adding in more characters. PTS also will stand for just like pre-time skips regarding any time skips. So like young Kakashi, young Rin, young Obito, they'll all go inside this PTS roster along with the Part 1 characters once we hit Shippuden. But since Seasons 1 through 5 take place in Part 1, the Part 1 versions of the main cast will be in their main rosters, the Leaf and the Sand rosters, until we reach Season 6, which starts Shippuden, which then they will all get migrated down into the PTS section with their Shippuden counterparts replacing them in the primary rosters. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, Naruto. As far as all the characters that I've got back in the game, we've got Naruto. I added Sasuke 2 days ago, yesterday, or I can't remember when I added him. Yesterday? Maybe it was yesterday. I think I added him yesterday. Yesterday or the day before I added him. And then Sakura, I added her. And then today, just now, I just added Ino, and that's actually for this video. But yeah, that's it. Those are the only characters in the game at the moment. You may also notice their stances look a bit weird. This is, again, intentional and not intentional at the same time. So the reason why all these characters got to get reintroduced and why their animations aren't perfect is because I just switched the game over from generic animations to humanoid animations. This is so good and so disastrous at the exact same time. I'll start with the bad. The bad is I lose every single animation I've done up to this point, period. Every single one. Even the ones that I ported over from the other games no longer work in any capacity. All gone. So that's the biggest bad. That's why the game is formally broken. Every single animation doesn't work anymore. So otherwise, the game can't even start, because even starting up the game, they would just be stuck in T-pose. But I'll just start a quick battle right now. And the animations that I have in there now look a little bit unpolished. That is, again, intentional and not intentional at the same time. So first is here. So I've got a basic dash running in there, but I don't remember where they run and put the arms up. That animation doesn't exist anymore, so they don't do it. So I've got to, at some point, address that. But anyway, so I got the game to at least run for the moment. I've got some of the animations back here, like walking. Backflipping is broken. I gotta fix that through coding, actually. I'll get to why that's like that in a second. Obviously, I've got the new-ish dash animation. I lost the sidestepping animations, so what I'm going to do is, instead of adding in custom sidestep animations. I'm just going to use the dash animation. So I coded it already to use dash. And then using code, I'm going to program it to make an offset, make the character actually turn. And so to just use one animation and then the character model itself will turn. Versus before I actually had 3 separate animations, a dash animation, and then I had 2 sidestepping animations where I would rotate the animation itself. So I'm just going to do all that through code, so that way I don't have to keep making all these additional animations. That way, every character, if they have a different dash animation, their sidestep will automatically match without me having to create 2 new variants of the dash animation to kind of account for the new sidestep mechanic. I lost all my jump animations, so for now I'm just using an array of animations I could import in, including this new dash jump, which I like. This was the animation they used when you would jump over the boxes in the EX games, so I ended up ripping that, and yeah, it works well for the dash jump. It's called the vault, like you're vaulting over something. Anyway, I like that one, but all the fighting animations, every single fighting animation is gone. So yeah, I gotta add all the sets completely broken. I mean, like, you can still use some of those, like, obviously this is designed to spawn a kunai, so the kunai will still spawn, but no animations, nothing works. I mean, yeah, so the hitboxes are still, I got the hitboxes to work again, because these were also broken. That was another reason why the game wouldn't work. The new skeletons completely broke the hitboxes, but I got these to work again. Yeah, so hitboxes work again, but again, the animations, without the animations to counterpart, like, yeah, it's not going to do much in-game, so I've got to redesign everything. But I did add the backdash animation. I got to add a little bit of airtime, but yeah. So the reason why, oh yeah, and while we're here, another byproduct of this is, so I've just been adding animations as I go. So I got some of the stances in here. So Kyuubi Naruto stance is here. But as I shared a screenshot yesterday or last night, with this new approach, which I'll get into in a minute, yeah, we've got custom animations in here for a lot of the, yeah, a lot of these characters. So Kyuubi Naruto's got his stance and his is that supposed to be the correct walking backwards animation? Maybe not. I can't remember, but it's definitely the correct walking forward one. And his dash. I've got to also fix this. The same issue for the backflip, how they're phasing in. Yeah, there's a thing that's going on that, again, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing that I got to fix through programming. But anyway, yeah. So he's got his unique dashing animation in here. Don't mind the footsteps for some of these, because the footsteps and the visual effects have to be resank to the re-importation of these animations, so they don't align with the feet right now. Oops. But yeah, nothing works anymore. No jutsu, nothing. So let's get into the good stuff on why that is. So when you switch from humanoid models to, or switch from generic models to humanoid models, for some reason Unity can no longer recognize the original animations. I'm not going to get too far into it because, again, it's one of those game design things that the average person wouldn't understand. But basically, it's one of those issues where when I first started making this game, I didn't know what I was doing. And so I just created it with whatever the defaults in Unity were. When you import a model into Unity, and it imports it as a generic model. Did I know this? No, I just imported it. It worked. I started making animations, went on. Eventually, I figured out how to import animations, and I did it from there. Everything was working fine. I did see one time on the import, let me see if I can show you. Excuse me. I'll go to Naruto's model. I did notice, let's see, here. Over here, there was an option. So we used to be set to generic. That's the default. And I saw humanoid and I experimented with it a little bit, but I didn't really get much anywhere with it. So I just left it alone, kept it as generic. Inside the animator, I would notice things like there's a mirror option. That you could toggle on or off, and it's supposed to flip the animation, like for when you invert the stance in the original Clash of the games. But it never works with my animations, and I never understood why. It just didn't work, and I just figured I just set something up wrong, so I didn't bother. That's why, to this date, inverting the stance has not been a part of my game, because you have to mirror the animations for that, and the Unity is supposed to be able to do that, but for some reason, Unity doesn't know how to mirror the animations for my model, so I left it alone. Fast forward to now, all of that was because, again, when you first import a model, Unity's default is to import it as generic. which I didn't know this. I just decided recently to experiment because I started to run into issues with all these animations, importing them, trying to match up the feet. I used to have to do I have an example in here? I think I still have it. The old controller. Yeah. So I used to have to do it like this. So every single character has a size associated with them. The children were the Genin size, so I'd have all the Genin's animations here, and you can see there's a lot, and these are just the Genin's moves. These are just Naruto and Sasuke's moves right here, and then these are all the like generic universal things. So I'd have to do all this for the Genin, then the Chunin would have their own version, then the Jonin would have their own version, and then Giants will have their own version. This is because with each animation, the feet don't properly align to the ground, so every time I go in to adjust the animations for like bouncing on the ground, I have to like tweak it so that the feet stay, and I would just summarize it generically to fit most of the Genin. The Chunin would be, because their proportions are different, the Chunin would get their own size, the Jonin would be the adults, and then Giants would be those really big characters like Raikage, Bando, who don't fit the Jonin either. Their feet will basically appear floating above the ground. Just the animations didn't mesh well with the different sized characters. And I thought there was some kind of way to like have the animation automatically snap to the feet, but again, there was no way to do this with the animations I was using. So this starts to get more tedious. As I was building more movesets, this became tedious because I told you guys originally all I wanted to do was program the move once, and then you just drop, and then that's it. I can reference it, but this would be difficult when it came to all these different sizes. If I wanted to add a move from Naruto to, let's say, Kakashi, I would have to then go to Naruto's animation, copy it, readjust the size, and then if I make a tweak to it to make the hitbox work better, then I gotta go tweak all the other versions, and it just got really muddied, and it's just this really blown out of proportion process. Even the importing of animations, I'm sure if you guys saw the video of where I imported Sakura's animation, it took like an hour. It's so much quicker than before. It would take several hours for just one move. So it definitely sped up the time, but it was still a lot of tedious work for just importing basic animations. Well, that brings us to now. And that includes models too. Even when I would include models, I would have to fix them up in Blender a certain specific way, rename the bones a certain specific way. It was a nightmare for Gekitou models to get them in because their naming, it was just a nightmare. All of that is a thing of the past with this new setup. So with the new setup, where's my new controller? All I don't have to do that. I just have the one default set of animations, and that's it. It works for everyone. That's because with humanoid models does this instead. I'm going to open up the rig. With the humanoid model, what I do is instead of the game relying on names like left leg, left high leg, left low leg, foot, toe, waist, breast, just that's how it was coded in the original game. So it would have to run through this hierarchy. You'd have to have the hip, then the hips to the left leg, and it'd have to be very strategic with the naming. If the name was even different by one character, it would break the whole thing. GameCube models don't use the same naming scheme as the Wii models. They use the same back-end like bone ID, but that doesn't mean anything in Unity specifically. So I'd have to go rename every single bone for any GameCube model that I would import. It was just very tedious. Now, what I do, when you do a humanoid model, you just map the bones to a skeleton. So the hips in a Wii model would be a hip bone. Otherwise, if it was a different name, I'll just easily be able to figure out which one was the hip. So I assign all of these here. The game actually automatically does most of this. And then I just tweak if there was any mistakes. Like sometimes the hip will come in as X instead. And I just swap it out. The head, I'll come in here, make sure this all matches. It usually figures all this out by itself. The hands, this is where it can get confusing. It usually gets this right 90% of the time, but there are a few times where I have to readjust the hands and the fingers to get this right. But yeah, once it's all set up, that's it. And in code, all I do is reference the animator's hand, the animator's elbow, all those things. I don't have to actually worry about the naming system in here. It's all uniform, and because of this, Unity can now recognize, so this is what a scene view would look like. Unity can recognize these things, so I can like play and manipulate, make sure everything's working right. So opening and closing the posture here, bending it left and right, all of these things. So Unity automatically knows how to, come on, Brown, there we go. Unity automatically maps all of this. Basically, this is what I thought could happen, but I didn't know I needed a special setup for it. So anyway, so because of this, this is that special setup I told you guys about earlier, where now every character model has to get redone. This is it. I have to go through and change every character by going in here let me exit out of here. By going into here and changing it from generic to humanoid and then configuring it and matching up all the bones, blah, 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 blah. I also had to re-add the X bone in Blender. I originally removed this. There was an XYZ bone and I didn't know what they were used for, so I just deleted them, and I didn't know because I wasn't importing animation at the time. I didn't know what they were used for, but they are used in the animation. Specifically X, Y is sometimes used, but I don't really need Y, and Z's never used. So I deleted Z and Y because they're redundant, but I did keep X. X is definitely needed. It's designed for rotating on the flat axis. Y axis I can rotate using the root, but X axis is needed for one extra layer of rotation for animations. So I needed to add the X back. So when I import these animations again, I run them through Blender and make sure I add that X bone back. It's just a duplicate of the hip. That's all it is. A duplicate of the hip that parents it. So I can rotate everything together regardless of the hip's rotation. So that's what the X is for. So I add X back in. It's not used over here, but it is used behind the scenes in certain animations. And so I have to do all of that. And then I also have to set it to humanoid. So it creates this, what we call avatar. And then what I do is inside the character itself. So like, for example, here, you'll see on this character's animator, it will use that avatar. This used to be blank, but now it's going to use this avatar. And what this does is it takes the new imported animations. These are all freshly imported from the raw MOTs. It takes these, and there's no way to convert. I mean, there might be a convoluted way to convert old animations into humanoid ones, but generally I have to run it through Blender, get the MOTs and bring them into Unity, and then they'll work with the humanoid model. So yeah, when I bring them into here, they no longer require me to modify them to work. If you guys remember, I had to do a bunch of cleanup and extra work just to even get the animation to run, let alone look pretty. I'm going to walk you guys through what this looks like for Ino, because I just added Ino's model, but she doesn't have any animations. I want to add the model just so, yeah. So just know that Ino's model's been added already, and I just converted it to humanoid, and I updated all of her outfits. So she now has a humanoid model. If you go in here, you can see I can select one of the animations I already have for her. Sorry, not for her, but just in general. Let's say, shoot, what's an animation I can play? Let's just say Jutsu, and she'll do that animation. So yeah, so that's just an example. All right, so I'm going to show you guys the full process. So first I'm going to open Blender. I'm going to show you what this process looks like. So what I use is, I call this just a generic setup. I just use a blank. Don't ask me why it's Ino. I just picked Ino at random. But I just have a blank model. I go to import Wheeze MOT. This is an extension that I use. Go to my MOT files, and I'm going to go to Ino's file, specifically Ino C, which is her child version. So Ino C's MOT. And it's going to load all of her animations here. And you can just double check by going to 000, which is always the stance. Yeah, and if I play this, that's Ino's stance. All right, so now that I know these are Ino's ones, I just go to export FBX, because FBX stores animations. I go in here and I just say force start end. I unselect that. It causes problems on import. So yeah, and that's it. This is going to take a second. Blender's got to export like 100 something animations, so it's just going to take a few moments. So I can't click on Unity until this is done, because otherwise it won't load until after this is done. So I'm just going to wait until this window becomes responsive again. As you can see up here, not responding. All right, that means it's done now. So here, it's going to import. Okay, don't worry about these. All right, so the way I get these to work is that model I just made, I just basically just save it as a model in here, but if I open it up, I'll see all the animations inside of here. So these are all Ino's animations. I have to extract them by just simply selecting them, hitting Control C, and then I'll click on Ino's MOT folder, and I'll save them here for it to load. All right, that's it. So here are all of her animations, period. Sorry, I have to click on this and deselect so all the options appear. This was the only option that was available in the original generic animations. All of these options are added for the humanoid. And this is what was missing and was causing all the issues before. So the first thing I need to do is bake into pose the root transform. Don't ask me what this does. All I know is that it fixes the animation. For some reason, I have to check that box, and it makes my animations work correctly. This needs to be from the original point, not body orientation. That will make sure the model is always centered from the original location. Root transform position Y. This means for any motion that it detects for up and down, usually it's based off the original, which will cause the feet to not line up. All I do is set this to feet. This will make sure the feet stay planted on the ground even with bouncing animations. This was that issue that I had with the feet where I told you, or I had to have Genin, Jonin, Chunin, Giants, so that their feet, and I had to tweak every single animation of all these variants so that the feet line up. Don't have to do that anymore. All I do is set this to feet, and every single character model's feet will stick no matter what their proportions are, meaning I don't have to do animation variants anymore. And the last thing is I need to set this to original as well. And that is it. These three are their stance, walk, and walking animations. I do want those three to loop. And actually, let me go ahead and name these, because I know these are always the same. So, P, stance. All right. P, walk forward. And P, walk back. All right. So before I add these, I'm going to show you something really cool. So this is also, I found this out when I was doing some digging before. So in the original Clash Ninja games, the way it works is every animation has an animation ID, and that's universal through the whole game. So 0, 0, 0 is always going to be stance. 001 is always walking forward. 002 is walking back. 003 is dash start. 004 is dash stop. And 005 is dash. There's several more. I think like 007 I think is backflip. I can't remember. But every single character, that's universal across every single character. 000 is always that. But in the common folder, which is the CMN folder, that just holds the generic animations. That's what Ino's using right now. So in the original games and in my game too, they have a fallback system where if there's not a character-specific animation inside the character-specific MOT, it will fall back on the CMN, the common, aka generic animation. So this is a generic stance, a generic run, and I'm just going to start a battle really quickly because it's really cool. It's always funny watching them run against each other like that. So I'm going to show you something really quickly and just how easy it is to make character-specific stuff. So, since Ino doesn't have any character-specific animations, it does the fallback for everything. That's the fallback stance, just a dummy stance. That's the fallback walk backwards and the fallback walk forward. And then this is the fallback run. So that's just how it works. But let me show you how easy it is to add character specifics. So first, I just go into my animator, my default, and I'm going to add 3 character-specific animations. I'm going to give her a unique stance and then a unique walking animation for back. I'm just going to duplicate these because there are some settings tied to them already. So yeah, I'm just going to duplicate these, and then all I have to do is rename them. So the way the game is programmed is it checks if there's a code in front. So first it's going to try to check and see if there is an Ino P, which just stands for Ino pre-time skip or whatever. And so Ino's stance, Ino's walking forward, and Ino's walking backwards. Not just done yet. These have Sakura's clips tied to them, so I'll find my Ino clips down here, and I'm just going to drag these over. Ino's stance, Ino's walking forward, and Ino's walking backwards. And notice I haven't done any clip. This is raw import. You guys saw the whole process up to this point. Raw import. Just brought the MOT in here, drag and drop it into my animator, and let's see what happens now when I start the game. Well, I know what happens, but I've got to show you guys, of course. Ino now has her custom stance. And look, her feet are staying on the ground, planted in the center. I don't have to do that whole adjusting thing for it. So, I'll just pick 2 of her right now. Still uses the generic run animation, of course, but that's because she doesn't get a custom run. She just uses the regular run like everyone else. So yeah, and there you go. So now she has her stance. The feet automatically line up, and that's it. I don't have to tweak anything. Nothing. That's how easy it is to import animations now. None of that whole cleanup and running it through and having to rename all the bones, delete all the extras, clean it up, make the feet work, none of it. And her walking animation too. The feet stay on the ground. They stay planted perfectly. Now, I actually don't like Ino's walking animation. I don't think it's the same as Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke's, and I don't really like it. I like Tayuya's better. So let's grab Tayuya's animation, and I'll show you again just how easy it is. So I'm going to delete Ino's walking backwards and forwards, and then we're going to swap those with Tayuya's. We're just going to revert this. So we don't get those old animations in there. We're going to import MOT. We're going to grab Tayuya's animations, and I'll show you Tayuya's. So that's Tayuya's walking animation. So so I'm just going to go ahead and export that. Well, we'll export them all. And same story, animation, force off, export. Gotta wait a couple of seconds for this to export all these animations. And I don't have to grab all of Tayuya's because I just want her walking animations. I don't want her everything else. Not until season 4, of course. Then we'll do the proper full import. All right. All right. It's going to load in the new animations. All right. So I'm going to come back up here. So I just want the walking animations. They've overwritten all the old ones. So I'm just going to grab 1 and 2. These are the walking animations. Bring those down here with the rest of Ino's. We're going to turn that loop time on, do our bake, original, feet, original. We're going to rename these. We're going to try to rename these. Ino P walk forward. Ino P walk backwards. And we're going to update these. All right. Walk forward. And walk backwards. All right, let's see what we got.
Time to get serious. Bring it on.
And we should have Tayuya's walking forward and back now, which fits Ino's stance much more nicely. And there we go. Like I said, don't mind the feet and sound effects and visual effects. I've got to resync these to everyone's animations after I get everything fixed in so that they align with each unique animation. But yeah, that is it. That is how easy it is to add animations and tweak them. Obviously, I still got to get the rest of the game working. But yeah, this is the benefit of humanoid animations. But more importantly, well, not more importantly, but in addition, I'm just going to pause it. And then I'm going to come in here to Animator. And I'm going to go to Ino Stance. I'm going to briefly take this away. And I'm going to toggle Mirror on. Oh, and then I'm going to set. Look, her stance inverted. So yeah, this mirroring now works with these animations. So I'll now be able to implement inverting the stance. I haven't implemented the system yet because that's all handled by code. That's why I start walking. Her body will spin all the way around and then start walking forward instead of that being inverted. So, but yeah, I just want to show you guys inverting the stance does work now. So what I did before was I have a variable for this. So we're going to turn that back off. And we're going to have an invert variable that I can set at during code. This is a Boolean value, which means it's a true-false value, so true or false for this, and I set that to mirror. So what I'll do is at runtime, so now that it's turned back off, so at runtime, this value will be true or false. Right now, invert is false, so it'll play the animation front-facing. But when I do an attack that inverts the stance, that invert variable will turn true, which will set mirror to whatever that variable is. So mirror will become true as well, which will invert all animations. And this variable is tied to every animation, including her walk and forward. So that's why if I change that variable one time, it affects all animations. So all I have to do is, again, let's say she does an attack that inverts her stance, that will invert all the animations from there on. And same thing, when I invert it backwards, the reverse, it'll uninvert all the animations. So yeah, inverting will now be able to implement it in my game. Look how easy it is to import animations. No cleanup, no nothing. The backside of it is, remember when I told you guys, like, I don't have to do any work on the feet. The game automatically does that. This is called foot IK, which is like foot inverse kinematics or something like that, which keeps the feet grounded. And there are two issues with this. First is, since it's always trying to keep the feet above ground, when you do a backflip, it causes the torso to go underground. So there's no way to tell it to keep every single bone on top of the ground. So what I'm going to do via code is after each frame during certain animations where that's a thing, like backflipping, I'm just going to have a program that will tell it to, if the hands, for example, are below the ground, lift the entire model up so that the hands are at ground level. This will cause the game to mimic kind of the same thing it's doing with the feet. So that way, Ino will always remain on the ground. You won't be able to notice that anything's happening at runtime. But this will ensure that when she backflips, her body stays afloat. Another option is to utilize soft cinematics. What that means is the same way I use a cinematic animator to animate them cinematic wise. I can also apply that to some of these animations to make it like a small sequence. So if I backflip, I can actually make a custom cinematic that will run, which will keep, and I can just make the cinematic whatever I want, and I can make her stay on top of the ground. So I can do that however I need to. I'm planning on doing that when I re-add throws, because joint animations are too funky, and I think I can use the soft cinematics to better animate those use cases for joint animations or situations where the model is not moving exactly the way they need to move. Because again, that's another example of how I would have to have all the custom versions in the previous one. I'd have to have a version so that the feet and the hands stay above the ground for Ginning, Chunin, Jonin, and Giants. Now, it's just going to be the one animation which keeps the feet on ground, and then I'll add a custom program which will make sure that the hands also stay above ground, so when she backflips, she lands on her hands, not her body facing to the ground. So there are some use cases where the foot thing is a curse, but it's extremely rare. Like, of all the animations I've imported so far, that's really the worst one. It also works for, it also is a negative on things like backdashing. If you see, she's supposed to jump backwards, but her feet are gliding across the ground. So I'll just have to program a little bit of verticality on that one. So when she jumps back, I'll just add a little bit of torque to the model so the model jumps back. But that's an easy fix. Like, that's literally like one line of code. Just, yeah, add force when she backdashes so that way the model moves upwards. Because originally I had that in the animation. The animation, I would have the model move up and down, part of the animation, but since this animation keeps the feet on the ground, instead of tweaking the animation to add height, I'm just going to add a little bit of torque to it so that the model kind of actually does a proper physics-based bounce, like leap when she goes backwards, to make the animation look a little bit less slippery. But yeah, so that's huge updates. This, once I start, I'll have to redo Naruto, Sasuke, all of their models, movesets for the most part need to get redone. Not fully like logic wise, just I'll have to redo all the animations, add them all back in. A lot of those animations actually switched to inverting, and I didn't apply the inverting in those original animations when I eyeballed it. I just made them all flat, so I'll need to retweak them to go for the inverting, to work with inverting, the stance. And I'll also need to obviously tweak them now because I did a lot of cheating when I would recreate these animations. Things that I should have been handling in the physics engine, I just cheated and put it in the animation. Well, since I'm importing raw animations, I can't take those shortcuts anymore. So any moves that use those shortcuts where I cheated in the animation itself, I'll need to tweak the move now to accommodate for that so it still connects. So I've got a lot of work to do to get the game even back to its previous state. But the good news is, once I get it back to its previous state, it is smooth sailing from there. All I do is drag and drop the animations in and program it one time, and every single character can use it. Their feet will remain planted on the ground, so on and so forth. Look how you guys see how easy it is to make character-specific animations too. So anytime I need a character to have a special kind of walk or run, all I do is just duplicate the state and add in the unique animation, and the carrying will either use the fallback, or if I have a character-specific animation there, it'll use the character-specific. As you saw how easy it was to get Ino's stance in here. Every character, I just drag and drop, and that's it. Oh yeah, one other downside is I used to add in the hand animations as part of the... her hand doesn't look right. Her wrist. I need to fix her wrists in the model in Blender, but for that specific model. But hands are. I used to put the hand animation within the animation itself. Those actually is not how the game was originally handled. Hands were actually controlled by a separate part of the animation or animator, where the code would tell the hands what to do. So right now the hands just are playing a default relaxed animation, but that's that's just neutral. That's not tied to her stance animation. You'll see that with Naruto as well. His hands stay open when they should be closed. So that's the second pro and con. it just means I now have to manually tell the game what to do with the hands for every single action. Before, it was another shortcut where I cheated, and I just put the hand animations within each animation instead of actually programming it in there. But this will give me more flexibility, more control. It's just I have to retrofit the rest of the game. So back then, when I used to have Naruto stance, have hands, fist, I now have to tell the game, hey, when Naruto stance is in play, make him make a fist. When you get hit, release the fist. Stuff like that I'll have to add in through programming. But the game's already set up for it. I already added all the hand poses. You can see that here. I have a right hand and a left hand, and all their poses. I just have them scattered in here. But yeah, jutsu, clinch, crossed, cup, point, rage, like claw. All of these thumbs up. All of these predetermined poses are in here already, and I just tell the game. I'll have to add a code in so I can just tell the game, hey, tell the right hand to do this, tell the left hand to do that, or tell both hands to do this. And I can tell it fist and give it any action, and it'll then play the hand animations on top of what they're already playing. But yeah, right now it's just defaulting to a relaxed pose for all animations because I haven't added in that logic yet. So a little bit more work, but again, once the system is up, then I will be able to, like I say, it'll be much easier from there. But again, not all these animations import perfectly, as you can see with Sasuke. Let me go to the viewer so I can show you all the models in the game. So Naruto's animation imported actually pretty well. That one doesn't really need much work, if any work at all. I just have to tell the game to ball his fists up. Next is his QB animation. This one, oh yeah, Green Beast Naruto is in now. Look at him, Green Beast. His QB stance is kind of crooked. Look at his leg. His legs didn't get perfect rotation input, and his hand, I think, faces through his leg a little bit, so I'll need to adjust those a little bit. It's just animating with this new humanoid is different from the generic. It's much harder. At least, well, not harder, but I'm not familiar with this new version, so it's going to take me a while before I can figure it out, get good at it. But I will need to tweak his leg so that it lines up better. It's still lining up with the ground, it's just the leg is not rotated properly, so I'll need to rotate the leg outwards. He's kind of leaning one way, so I need to correct whatever offset is putting this off. And then this animation is super broken. It's like twisted and crooked in so many ways, like the legs off, the arms off, and the hip is off. Excuse me. That's going to need a lot of cleanup on it. Yeah, again, the feet are staying planted, but it needs a lot of cleanup to get it looking well. Sasuke's is okay, but again, his foot, like that same exact left leg, needs to get rotated to get adjusted. And then that hand is going through the through his inside of his leg, so I need to adjust his arm movement to go in. His Sharingan pose is better, much better, but that right hand behind isn't exactly how it, in the same position it was in the original game. I'm not sure what causes the animation to get off. I think it's something in the import process in the Blender. It doesn't perfectly get everything, all the information. But anyway, that happens. So Sasuke's Sharingan is much better. I don't need to touch it, but that arm does look awkward in game. Being so, it's at a weird. You can't tell here because it's behind him, but it's a little bit weird in gameplay. And his curse mark is also okay, but look at again that leg. That left leg is almost never right, and that that right arm is phasing through his body as well. So that needs to get tweaked as well. So lots of tweaking needs to be done. And then Sakura's model is really effed. It's not the correct rotation. She's facing towards the camera when she'd be facing more towards the side. And her feet are sliding forward and back. They're staying planted vertically, but for another fallacy of this is Unity doesn't account for like rocking back and forth. That was another way where I cheated. Well, not cheated, but I had to adjust the model to move forward and back so that the feet appear to be planted. So it looks like I'll still have to do a little bit of that. I'm not sure if there's a way to address this through code. So what I may have to do is try to add in a root motion on top of her already playing animation that slides the model back and forth along with the feet. So that way they appear to be standing still. But yeah, otherwise the feet will appear to be sliding back and forth. And then Ino's model is pretty much perfect. Yeah, her animation imported pretty much perfectly. Literally perfectly. No issues with this one. So great job. Ino's animation on the import process. It imported perfectly. Feet are staying above the ground. There's a little bit of sliding, but it's not even noticeable. So love how Ino's model turned out. This is my first time actually doing this for Ino. I've never seen her model imported with this new system before. So I'm really happy. This could have gone so many different ways. So I'm happy that it works perfectly fine. But yeah, now you guys know how easy it is. Oh, and while we're here, one more quick thing. There's a new outfit for Sasuke. I gave Sasuke a made-up summer outfit. I mean, it's not 100% made up. Kishimoto did a fan art. It's hard for me to find, not a fan art. He did a manga art that showed Sasuke wearing his blue shirt, but he has the Chunin exams like elbow pads on. So I decided to adapt that costume into a pseudo like summer outfit, just so that we have matching for Naruto. It was just so easy to add for Naruto. I just added it on a whim, and I figured I could squeeze 2 outfits out of it. And it's in GNT4 Super, so I was like, might as well match GNT4 Super. Then when I was importing Sakura, again, I was like, it's really just her dress cut in half. And so I added her really easily as well, and just shortening her shorts was just a texture thing. So I was like, that was pretty easy. It's just her long sleeve dress, and then you just tweak it just slightly to make it shorter. And that was easy, and just the inside of her belly is actually just her dress, and I retextured it to her stomach. I just got really clever with it. So that was really easy to make. So then I was like, it feels weird with Sasuke not having a summer outfit when he has a winter outfit as well. So yeah, I went in and gave him a summer outfit, and I gave him skinnier shorts. I used the Chunin exams outfit shorts, so they're like skinny shorts. Removed his leg warmers. His legs are kind of cursed. And then gave him the upper body from that Kishimoto art that I told you about, where he's like a blend of his outfits. So yeah, and that's where the inspiration for this came from. Oh, that's technically his Chunin exam shirt as well. It's shorter sleeves, so just like his black outfit. So it's basically heavily inspired off of his. It's basically his black outfit, but I separated the shirt and used the color palette of his blue and white outfit. That's really it. That's all I did. And I decided to give him the longer hair style because, excuse me again, there's only 2 outfits that use that style, which is his Chidori training outfit. This is when he was training with Kachi for Chidori. His hair grew out, but it was before he put on his black outfit. But he did have the longer hair. This is canon. It's a canon outfit, and it was an EX3. EX3 had this outfit as well. Kind of strange that they had it randomly out of nowhere. But yeah, they had Chidori training outfit Sasuke in there with long hair, but the blue outfit. Obviously, his Chunin exams outfit uses it, and then I was like, we have all these other outfits with short hair. So I thought it would be cool to have one more outfit where he has long hair. And I thought, okay, why not the summer outfit? It also shows time has progressed. Obviously, it's from a season to another season, so his hair's gotten a little bit longer. Maybe just forgot to cut it. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. And that's what it looks like from the Sharingan pose. Yeah. So, summer outfit Sasuke is a thing. And then that's him as CS2. Yeah, anyway, this video is, oh my god, it's so long. I'll close out with this. I've gotten some things working. Here, I'm going to go to, let me go into depth mode really quickly. Just so I can access Kimi Naruto in Rome. Actually, let's use Green Beast. Yeah, we'll go to Leaf Village, why not? I just find it, it's kind of cool seeing these custom animations in here. Now, I need to fix it so he doesn't face with the ground. This is the same thing as the backflipping when Naruto's running in this QB run. The animation's trying to keep the feet on the ground. So when his feet go back as he's running like a fox, it causes the upper body to go up within the ground. So the same logic that I use. You can see how crooked his stance is. It's just so broken. It looks from the side, but from the front you can really see how broken it is. So that's going to need some work on it. But anyway, yeah, this is the running animation. And look, I can even add in custom walking animation for free roam too. This was not possible in the previous version of the game. Everybody had the same walk and run in free roam, but with my new fallback system implemented, I can even add custom roaming animations like this, so Naruto can use his QB walk in 3D mode as well, and his 3D run as well. Anyway, but yeah, it's just kind of cool seeing Naruto use the fox run as you run around, and then using the dash jump. It just looks so much more like a ninja dash, the vault. But yeah, I really need to, not I really need to, but it's going to be even better when I do fix the phasing issue through code by, like I say, programming that offset. Yeah, this leaf map is so sluggish. That's my next project after the humanoid models is I need to then redo the leaf map. But look at this. We're like QB Naruto running around in free roam. And this map is huge. Like, man, it's huge. I'm not even sure how I'm going to... I've got to basically rebuild it in Blender. Part of the reason why it runs so slow is all these individual models are separate. All these trees are separate models from the game when they all should be combined into one mesh. For some reason, that causes the game to run slower when you have... Even though you can have the same number of triangles, having them as separate models versus one combined mesh comprised of multiple triangles is apparently what makes the difference. So I need to rebuild all of this in Blender and then take all the trees and combine them into one mesh of a forest. So combine all the barks and then all the leaves into one, and that will actually significantly improve performance. So yeah, I'll just have to recreate everything from scratch. Not from scratch, but yeah, recreate everything in Blender. And yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is running around as QB Naruto using custom animations. And when you look at the village, it really slows down. Anyway, alright, this video is long enough, 45 minutes. Thanks guys for watching. Hope this was educational for you. This is why the game isn't working right now. I've got to redo all these animations, get the core mechanics back up so that fighting can work again. Rebuilt Naruto and QB Naruto's moveset, Sasuke and Sharingan Sasuke's moveset, Sakura's moveset. And then from there it should be pretty easy segueing into Kakashi's moveset, because again, you just drop in the animations and go from there. That's it. Just drag and drop. At the code, keep on going. I don't have to do any of that renaming, clean up where necessary. But yeah, I don't even have to clean up immediately. Like, it's more important that I just get the game going and then I can make it look pretty later. Like, this animation's in. Like, tweaking it isn't going to change the gameplay. Like, I can leave it like this until it's time to fix it. And then, like, right before season 1 release, let me go clean up some of these old animations that have some broken rotations. And yeah, just clean it up right at the end. But the core of the animation, as long as the hands and the feet, when you're punching and kicking, line up, that's really all I need to get going. So yeah, it's just going to be hard. Not hard, but tedious getting everything back to where it was before, because I do all this work just for the game to work exactly as it did before. But it'll be in such a better state by then. I'll have inverting the stance in there as a new logic working. I'll have yeah, I'm not gonna rant. You guys watch the video. Lots of good things coming. Yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Cheers.